Hey everybody, and welcome to the 9th episode of Oh Hey Guys. I'm Sally, and I'm actually flying solo this week, so that's a nice change. You would not believe what happened this week. I actually got to sit down with one of my favourite singer-songwriters, Monique Brumby, and have a really awesome chat about everything, like being gay in the music industry, one of our favourite movies, Carol. Yeah, guys, she loves Carol as much as I do. So that is something for you to look forward to. It was an amazing chat. ARIA award-winning Monique Brumby, brilliant Australian singer-songwriter. I mean, perfect. She's funny, she's smart. She even sings some songs, which is great. It was just a really awesome time. And thank you again, Monique, for being such a legend. So this is what this episode is. I guess you could call it the Monique Brumby episode. And I'm also now calling Monique a friend of the show. So yeah, guys, enjoy this as much as I did, because yeah, it's a really great chat. Cool. Have fun.
I just wanted to say that I'm very excited. I had about 25 people wanting to crowd into my apartment today while I did this interview. Because
so how many are there now?
There's no one. I didn't tell them when the interview was. I was like, no one.
Nice.
I know.
Oh, thanks. That makes me feel special.
Yeah. So everyone, a whole group of people are just like jealous as hell, I guess.
That's so nice.
Yeah, we're big fans.
Thank you.
And my friend Sarah, who I do the podcast with, she wanted to tell you that she read your coming out story in the Inside Out book.
Oh, yeah.
And she said it had a profound effect on her journey. And
that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's so nice.
She just wanted to let you know that she couldn't be here today, but yeah, she just wanted to know how much of an impact that story and that book had. Yeah, so
yeah, it was a pretty amazing book. When I did that interview, I wasn't really sure. I didn't really think about the ramifications of it.
Yeah,
that it would be in print forever.
I have a copy sitting on my table right now. Yeah.
So I was thinking about that first kiss the other day with the girl when I was really young. And she was too. And she was young and she was the instigator.
Yeah.
But I think I've been a lesbian ever since then.
Yes.
That moment.
I had a similar experience when I was younger with my grandmother's next door neighbour. She was also a young girl and I was young. And I thought that I wanted to be her husband, but I didn't want to be a boy, and I couldn't figure out how that worked.
Yeah.
It's funny,
isn't it? Those sort of role plays as children, they're indicators when you look back on them as to your sexuality and things. And you know, I sort of think I'd still be gay even if Monica Woodhouse hadn't kissed me. But I don't know though. You know, like maybe that was just the awakening that I needed.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Maybe it was, because then
I could be, you know, like married with heaps of kids now, if not for that kiss.
Yeah, well, thank you for that kiss. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, my God, you could have gone down a completely different path.
I know. Life could have been very different.
I know. Imagine that. Well, and speaking of that, I read in an article, and I think I read it years ago, that you hid a lot of yourself in your 20s, in your early 20s.
Yeah, I did. I just sort of I wasn't out to my grandmother's, and I didn't. It was at a time too where, you know, I was in Tassie, and I'm back in Tassie now, which I love, but it wasn't very accepted, you know. And I didn't want to hurt them, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the reason for that. And, you know, there was a bit of shame around being gay then, and I felt embarrassed and I felt worried that I'd hurt my family. I think that was the reason as to why I sort of went through that phase, because we're talking, the early 90s,
Yeah.
It was a different time. And I just have a lot of admiration and respect for people that have, made it their mission to reach equality. I feel like I've been a small part of that, but, there's an activist down here, Monique Brumby, who's just always been just advocating for equality and acceptance, and it's just people like that really inspire me.
Yeah, absolutely. What about and how did that go with like marriage equality? Like, what did you do in that when that was all happening recently?
There was lots of rallies and things, and I went to back to Hobart where I grew up, and I spoke at City Hall to a packed hall of local people who probably years before wouldn't have really, been accepting, but it was a broad cross-section of people from the community, and it was really heartening to see that. I was involved in that. I was also, there was a rally on the steps of the library in Melbourne, and I performed a song that I wrote on my last album about marriage equality called Silent War.
Yeah.
And it was just about, our world is beautiful and colourful, as is anyone else's, and it should be recognised as equal. There were a few things that I was involved in around the time, but I must say I have so much love and admiration for Magda Zabansky. I think through the campaign she was just such a fantastic spokesperson, and she must have been bloody exhausted.
She must have been. She must have slept for a week.
I reckon. It was really exhilarating, wasn't it, when they announced it in Parliament?
Yeah, it really was.
Like, I cried. Like, I was just a wreck. Like, it was just, I didn't think it would affect me as profoundly as it did.
I think that was the thing about it, wasn't it? Because I was on the way to work and I cried in the train. I just read the news article and I thought, wow, this is, it's relief and all that.
Yeah, relief and feeling, it really struck me, this feeling of I was equal probably for the first time in my life. I felt like that.
Yes.
And it was almost like you didn't know what you didn't have because you didn't have it. But then when you had it, you realised what you'd been missing.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Damn right.
Yeah.
I'll go back to what I was asking you about you hiding your identity. How did that affect, how did your sexuality affect your music career?
Well, it's really hard to say, Sally, because everything was happening to me, like I got signed to a record company when I was 21.
Yeah.
And I put out an album and it went in the charts, and, I was sort of thrust into this spotlight. I was out from the start, I can't really say how it affected my career. I'd be kind of guessing, but I always had an inkling that it didn't make things particularly easy for me. Just had a hunch. But, look, I couldn't really, you look at songwriters who, write gender-specific songs and things, and, major labels, and I was signed to a major label when I was very young, as I just said, they're all about marketability.
Yeah.
How many albums or you can sell, and that's based really on, how well received a single is. So back then it was, how far in the chart did it go and what were the sales figures like,
Yeah.
And I was right at the end of the analogue era, so it was right sort of at the dawn of, I suppose, the internet. And it was a real crossover time. So there were lots of things that played into my journey on a major record label. I think that it was hard for people to, particularly sort of the misogyny that exists within the industry.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad now, but mind you, I am not in that world so much anymore as an independent artist. But back then it was like, if you can go to the parties and sort of kiss up to the right guys in suits, you didn't really sort of figure in the tallying at the end of the year as to who had been a good girl on the label. And, so it was a little bit of that. It was a little bit of, did you go to the parties and did you play the game? And I was never good at playing the game. I just felt like it was just a bit phony.
Yeah, I completely get that.
So I honestly don't think my sexuality really had much to do with that. Just more as a person, I just couldn't function in that world very well. I just found it really narcissistic and quite ugly, and it was very counterproductive to creativity, really, all of that stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
You make one type of music, and I was really into making, different music. So I think that, everyone's journey is different. There's many, many reasons as to, why people's lives take these sort of undulations and these twists and turns. I suppose for me it was more about my moral compass and where I felt comfortable and how I felt I needed to represent myself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow, that's cool. I understand about not being able to play the game. I'm not a musician, but I do work in a corporate kind of environment, and I'm very bad at playing the game.
Yeah, it's hard not being able to do it. I've become sort of better at it.
Yeah.
Just basically being there for a short time and then spotting your escape route and then getting out when you can, when no one's looking.
Yeah. I always have that thought in my head, like, okay, 2 hours, I'm going to be at home in bed. Like, just keep the end goal.
That's it.
So do you think there's still a need for LGBT artists to come out, or is it?
I think so, yeah. Absolutely. I think that there's also a need for people to just become less and less judgmental of people that are different to themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the same, in the LGBT community. I mean, just because you're just because you're gay doesn't mean you're going to get along with every gay person.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So, as an individual, you have a choice. So it's like there's no one says, there's a straight community. And I understand why people say there's a queer alternate community, because obviously we've had to rise up to get acceptance and equality,
Yeah.
But now there's sort of a feeling that, well, everyone's an individual and you make your own decisions as to how you conduct yourself. And I think that if an individual chooses to be openly gay in the inception of their career at the start, then that's their choice. But again, if they don't want to always have to talk about that, they shouldn't have to either.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that there was always a little bit of that with me.
Yeah.
Sort of you couldn't please everyone. So, you don't talk about your sexuality and people are like, she's not, waving the rainbow flag every time she does an interview. And, well, you don't have to do that. Like my as a human being, my sexuality is one part of me.
Yeah.
It's not the complete whole of me. It's just one bit. Do you know what I'm doing while I'm talking to you? I'm actually polishing a table. And I didn't even realise I just found myself doing it. Anyway, look, I think that, it is great for now. Look, the younger generations, I really don't. I mean, in Australia, they don't really mind, it's not a big focus like it used to. It used to be a big deal,
Yeah, it used
I don't
to
think
be.
it's such a big deal anymore. I mean, we didn't even have there were no characters in sitcoms who were gay or anything like that. So, I only knew Martina Navratilova was gay, Melissa Etheridge,
Yes.
a few writers,
Yeah,
and
Katie Lang.
Swung around.
Yeah.
But, I think that, look, if people, want to, people should be free to express who they are anyway, as long as it's not hurting anyone else. Like, it's not like he's saying, well, yeah, I'm a gay artist, therefore if you listen to my music, you're going to be gay. I mean, these sort of concepts are sort of, I think people are wised up a bit.
Yeah, it's almost like a shared experience, isn't it? Like, because I know I was about 18, so that would have been 98 when I sort of discovered, say, your music. And someone like Katie Lang at that stage really scared me. I think because she was so gay.
Yeah, right.
It's really strange. Like, there's obviously a lot of...
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, because it was confronting.
Yes.
And this is the thing that people don't talk about. Even as a lesbian, it was confronting, because we weren't exposed to it.
Yes.
So this is the thing too. It's like, just because you're gay doesn't mean that you've always been 100% comfortable with being gay. It's really hard for a lot of people who are gay that wish they weren't, because, that maybe they haven't had the opportunity to experience the things that they would have experienced if they hadn't have been gay, like have family with the partner that they're going to spend the rest of their life with, and have children with that person, and just be always accepted for who you are, I suppose.
Yeah, and never doubt that for a second. Like,
never doubt it for a second. You don't even think about it. You know what, Sally? I think that's one of the really good things that came about from the postal vote.
Yeah,
was that it actually got people who, like people that have known me my whole life. It said, I've never given it that depth of thought before, Mon. I'm really sorry. Like, I had no idea. It must have been really hard going through that,
Yeah.
And I think that it opened up people's eyes to just how difficult it was being discriminated against for your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did an episode that one of the first ones was about coming out, and I was sort of saying, like, it is that there used to be that sort of situation where you'd meet somebody for the first time in whatever situation it was, and you'd have to, you'd wonder, like, you'd say, well, I need to tell you that I'm gay. Like, it's okay if you don't want to be my friend because of that.
Yeah, it was that sort of shame.
Yeah, and it's like, and now
I better tell them. Yeah, now it doesn't matter at all.
Now it'd be like, oh, get stuffed. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, times have changed a lot, and I think that there's still a long way to go for acceptance, just with the human, the way we are as humans, just our conditioning. Like, we find it very hard to, I don't know, some people find it very hard to think outside of their own lives.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for, I don't think sexuality comes into that, but I just think as people, we need to evolve. We need to be better. We've got to be now more than ever more compassionate and more thoughtful of others and more giving of our own stuff, because we've sort of developed this society here in Australia where it's all about, who gets what, and,
who deserves what.
Yeah, like this sort of status around materialistic things. And I suppose people have always been like that, but I just think we need to be better now. And it doesn't bring, what is happiness? And I'm striving to be as happy as often as I can.
Yeah.
And it's not possible to be happy all the time. But that's really one of my goals, is to just maintain some sense of well-being,
Yeah. And I think that's a great goal. Like, and if you keep that in mind, I think it then.
Yeah, I think so. Recognise when you need help, and I think that's the thing. Like, growing up gay, I just started to deal with stuff in my own head,
Yeah.
You know, like you sort of internalise stuff and you sort of paint a sort of a picture of yourself. And also, too, at that time when I was coming out, a lot of people, you know, like say 15, 16 when I was 17, that age, and I first started dating girls, you know, we were all damaged.
Yes.
Like we all had low self-esteem inside, even though we may not have presented that, or we all felt scared or ashamed, or we had some negative feelings around who we were. And that leads to sort of, you know, quite volatile first relationships as well. It's not really ever really talked about for young gay men and women.
No, it's not. No.
You know, like that we actually, a lot of us have come from places of trauma around our sexuality. It's not so much now maybe, but maybe it still is. But I definitely felt that at the time, like if you came out in 1990, you know, at school, I mean, you just have to just cope with people just talking about, you know, like and feeling really ostracised. And there were two girls that came out at my school, at school, or one particularly, and I just thought she was so brave. Like I actually thought that was really brave of her to do that.
God, yes.
You know, at that time, like this is 1990. So, yeah, things are different now. I know they are, but around the world, you know, people have got all sorts of adversity to overcome, and I just don't think people should ever be defined by one part of themselves. And people are constantly changing as well and evolving. I mean, I feel like a completely different person now to the person that I was when I first put out records. And then the part of you still lives, though, in you, you know, and I think music's amazing like that because it documents times in people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's there documenting what, you know, who you were then. For everyone to see, you know, warts and all, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think with your albums I've found that as well. So do you think that music has helped change attitudes, though, towards LGBT people?
It's funny when you ask me that. I came across this song and it was by an artist called Judith Small, I think her name is. And I just was struck by it because I think the lyrics were, lesbian, lesbian, I can be a lesbian. Two women in the night, what a beautiful sight. You could be a lesbian. Two women in the night, erotica delight. You can be a lesbian. Lesbian, lesbian, I can be lesbian. So,
wow.
People are really singing about it. I don't know if I've ever been that overt in my lyric writing.
So you're not gonna do a cover of it next album, or?
Oh man, I wept. I was on the floor. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was great.
It's amazing, yeah.
It is amazing.
I think you should cover it.
I did a song with a band called the Redheads. I did a vocal on a song called Old Ladies in Love, and that was sort of a punk band, a fun punk band from Melbourne in the late 90s, and they asked me to do the vocal on Old Ladies in Love, and it was basically about women as they get older finding love in relationships with one another, and that was really cool. And it was just, the chorus was just, old ladies in love, old ladies. And it had these verses that were like, old ladies dressed in green and purple, they ain't no members of no sewing circle. Tonight, old ladies are out looking for some action. So many ladies loving old ladies, I got a feeling that it's catching. It was just hilarious doing that vocal. So people are writing about lesbians, and I've always written about lesbians, but my lyrics are sort of a little bit more open to interpretation, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
I don't even know what your question was, but I hope I answered it.
I think you did. I don't even know now too because I've been laughing too much. So I think I'm pretty much done, but I did want to ask you about your favourite gay movie. Because mine is
Recently.
Carol.
Oh, is what?
Mine's Carol.
Oh, my God. So is mine.
Oh, my God.
I was about to say, well, my recent favourite gay movie is that.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh
I just think if you are a lesbian and you don't like that movie, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I agree. And you should seek help.
It's just incredible, and it just captures the trepidation and the worry and all of that. I really related to that.
Yes, me too. I finished it. When I finished it, I was like breathless. I was like,
I know, me too. I just love the end, that last shot.
Oh.
And you know how the camera goes sort of wonky at the end?
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's with that? do you know what I reckon?
What?
I reckon with that last shot, I reckon they were editing, and at the very end of the film, they were like, Kate's just got that look. That's the look, but that's the only shot of it that we got. And Kate's gone, you've got to use that. You've got to use that shot. You have to use that shot. You've got to use that shot. I mean, I'm just guessing, but I'm making this up in my mind because I did obsess over it for quite some time.
Did you?
But no, I love that film. And when I was younger, I loved The Hunger. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I have.
It's a lesbian vampire movie.
Oh.
And it's Susan Sarandon, which is it was from the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon, Catherine Deneuve.
Oh, okay.
And David Bowie.
Oh, my God. What?
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's, a lesbian vampire movie called The Hunger. I really liked that.
Oh, I just wrote that down.
Well.
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It's kind of, it's quite dark, but it's, it's quite good.
Cool. Thank you so much.
That's all right, Sally. Lovely to talk with you.
This has been incredible. Like you were just like the best interview subject ever.
Thanks.
Like, yeah, I know that we're just like I'm not blowing smoke either. It's just like
that's nice.
I've had such a good time.
We did have a good chat. It was quite fun.
It was really fun. All right, thank you so much.
No worries. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Hey guys, didn't I tell you it was great? It was perfect. I loved it. And full disclosure, I rang all my friends afterwards and screamed about how great it was. Ridiculous, I know. If you go to moniquebrumby.com, you can find out everything. Tours, info, everything you need to find out about Monique Brumby, you can find there. You should definitely go there. Next week is our last episode for the season. I can't believe we've nearly done 10 episodes. So if you've missed any, head to the website or iTunes or Radio Public or Stitcher or SoundCloud. We're all over that. And you can listen to about the time that I went down a porn rabbit hole in the porn episode. That was a pretty crazy week. Mental health, sexual health coming out, relationships, everything. So we pretty much talk about anything and everything. So you'll find that collection on the website and stuff. Anyway, thank you for listening, and see you next week. Bye.